So every Sunday, my daughter and I, when we get up, we have cereal and we watch a movie. And this Sunday happened to be Tarzan. We watched the original 1999 Tarzan. Um, and there was a few things that I thought of that I wanted to talk about. So as a side note, before I get started, this is a movie that I haven't seen very often. I didn't see this when I was a kid, and I don't know why it just didn't happen. And as far as with her, this is only our second time watching this. So basically, for all intents and purposes, this felt like my first time watching it because I didn't remember any of it. So anyways, these are some thoughts that I had. Now I get it that this movie was made with, children in mind. It's supposed to be children's entertainment. It's a animated film, and it's all about just a jungle man discovering other people and stuff. And it's a pretty good movie, don't get me wrong. But there was a few things that I thought was ridiculous. Number one is this scene. So this scene is basically where he first really discovers Jane, and he just rescued her from all the, what are they, gibbons or something, and he gets up in the tree with her, and they're hanging out, and he's kind of exploring her, and he's realizing, wow, you're like me, our hands are the same, our skin's the same, you're not hairy, you're bald like I am. And, yeah, so they start talking, he's Tarzan, and then, it's funny, because she's saying things, and he's thinking that's her name, but, the overall point here, though, that didn't make sense, is he learned English ridiculously fast for all metrics. I mean, she would say stuff and he was immediately mimicking it, and then he went on to remember it with no problem. I mean, she said her name to him, and the next time he saw her, he remembered Jane. Like, that would never happen. You try learning a language. That's not how that works. You don't memorize everything that you heard one time, and I'm an expert at it now. Even something as simple as her name, Jane. To us, that's easy. Jane. That's it. But he speaks with monkeys. His language is and all that. He doesn't know Jane and like mouth and tongue or I guess lip and tongue and throat control like that. He just and his progression into sentences and being able to properly communicate with all the other humans was just way too rapid. That would never happen. I get it. It's a cartoon. It's a movie. It's meant for entertainment. You want to be able to have them communicate, but they could still have done it in a way that made more sense, like how he does Tarzan. We know he's trying to say, hey, my name's Tarzan. He can't say my name's Tarzan, but he's saying me, Tarzan. They could have made him talk like that or something. Make it make a little more sense, not just full-blown conversations after learning English for 5 minutes. The next bit I thought was ridiculous was how Jane basically falls in love with him over the course of, 3 days? Like, it makes sense if Tarzan kind of fell in love with her, because at the end of the day, he's still a human man. He still has those, I don't know, deep down desires for a woman or whatever. Maybe he didn't realize them prior because, he's been living with monkeys and he didn't feel anything towards the other monkeys. But then she comes along and it just triggers something inside of him like, oh, I feel a certain way and I don't understand it. But for her to be falling for him too, that's ridiculous. Let's put it into context what she would have discovered. When she found Tarzan, she would have seen essentially a homeless guy who can't speak at all, who has a very low IQ because he's never been to school, who's probably severely emaciated. I know in the movie they make him look all, good physique, ripped and everything, but if it was real life, he'd probably be severely malnourished, because he's with the gorillas, and granted, the gorillas eat all day, and they're big, strong creatures, but, their physiology is different than a human. So I'm assuming, I could be wrong, but I'm assuming Tarzan would probably be kind of malnourished and very skinny and, Also, he'd probably be all scarred up, potentially, from any, fights he's had with weird animals, like snakes and stuff. If I didn't say this already, he'd be very filthy. He's never showered in his life. Yeah, I'm sure he jumps in rivers or whatever and cleans up that way, and he's got the other monkeys, doing the thing when they pick little insects out of his hair, but for the most part, he's going to smell terrible. He's going to be very filthy. He's never washed his hands or anything ever. I don't think a girl that looks like her, who looks, she looks like she's from prominent enough society, maybe upper middle class, maybe even lower upper class or something. She's got the hat even. She's got the umbrella. Whenever girls have an umbrella or a parasol, I typically associate them with, wealthy. Any movie that they have a female walking around with an umbrella, they're usually from an affluent family, you know. And then she's able to go to Africa to explore the jungles. Now I don't know if this was for a job or if this is for fun, but in either case, she was able to do that. She has the bodyguard, what's his name, Clayton or something. Is someone like her, who obviously regularly bathes, she has makeup on, you know, she has purple eyeliner and stuff. She's not gonna fall for the first homeless guy that she finds in the middle of the woods. I mean, I'm sure she could easily find any guy where she's from, England. Any guy from there she could probably get with. She doesn't need to wait for the homeless guy that she discovers in the middle of the jungle. Like, that would never happen. If anything, her interest in him would just be more for, like, a scientific aspect of things. She would be interested in studying him, like, wow, this guy's lived in the woods his whole life, and maybe the cool things he can do, like how he basically surfs down the trees, and he can swing from the vines, and he can communicate with the other gorillas and stuff. That might be interesting to her, but she's not going to be like, oh, and turn into Helga for Arnold over this filthy, stinky, stupid guy, emaciated guy, like... And then the last bit in this movie that has to be the dumbest part is this scene. This is at the very, very end. It's the last, I don't know, 3 minutes in the movie when this stuff takes place. Basically what's happening is now they're leaving the island and they're being rowed back to their main boat so they can go back to England. And, you know, she's sitting in the boat kind of sad, and her dad's like, oh, you're in love with him. No, he says something along the lines of, like, you know, what are you doing in this boat? You know you're in love with him. Go be with him. Don't be in here going back to England with me. And then here she is, like, oh, okay, Dad, and ready to jump in the water and go swim back to shore to be with him. Like, first off, the part that's dumb is a normal, loving dad would not say that to his kid. If he saw that she was, like, longing for him, he'd be looking at her like, kid, come on. For some reason you caught feelings, but be realistic. You don't want to be with this guy. He's uncivilized. He can't speak. He's a man, yes, but he's essentially a gorilla. He's grown up with gorillas. He doesn't know anything about being a human. He doesn't know anything about civilized life. You have nothing with him. You have no future together. Don't feel a certain way for him. That's weird. Let's go back home. You can find a real, actual civilized man to be with and make your life there. No, instead he's encouraging her, hey, why don't you go jump off this boat and live with this guy in the woods, and where you're basically going to be homeless now, and just throw away everything that you know of life. And then it's dumb that she's actually like, okay, Dad, sounds like a good idea. Yeah, maybe that would be fun for like a week, you know, to go hang out in the woods and basically like LARP doing camping for a week, you know, with somebody who's like an expert at it, and having all these gorillas as like bodyguards. But then after a while, it's like, all right, I want to get back to society. I want to sleep in a bed. I want to be able to wash my hands, if not take a full shower. You know, I want to be able to eat. I'm hungry. I'm sick of eating just berries and leaves and whatever other crap you're bringing me. You know, I want to be able to wash my clothes. I want to be able to, you know, brush my teeth. I want to be able to sleep in a building with a roof. I don't want to have to deal with these bugs all night, these flies and stuff, and getting all bit up and all welted. I don't want to deal with worrying about the snakes coming across me when I'm trying to sleep in the middle of the night, or other wild animals and leopards and all this. Like, that's a dumb life. Why would she just voluntarily choose that and go jump in the water and swim back to that guy for a homeless, dumb guy who's filthy, disgusting, full of bugs probably in his hair, like lice and all that, you know, fleas. Why would someone like her go and do that? And then quite possibly what's even stupider is that her dad jumps in like a couple minutes later. He's like, oh, what am I doing? I'll go into. He takes off his scarf thing and tells the guy rowing over there to say, oh, just tell them that you couldn't find me. That happens all the time. And now he's jumping in the water to go live on this island or whatever it is. Like, where are they, in Africa or something? I don't know. He's jumping in to go live a homeless life with his daughter and her boyfriend, I guess, now. And it's like, come on, man, you're even older. First off, you should be smarter. You know, wisdom and all that comes with age. Second off, because you're older, you need society. You're going to need medications. You're going to need doctors. You're going to, you know what I mean? You're going to have arthritis and all that coming up soon. You can't be living in the woods with no physicians and stuff around. You need a proper bed. You're going to have back problems just laying on the ground, sleeping on some sticks. Oh, Overall, yeah, it's a pretty good movie. I liked it. I'd totally watch it again, but it's just these four things were just, however many there's, 3, 4 things were just so dumb.